50 years of passion, professionalism, and commitment.
The history of an enterprise is often linked to the life of the entrepreneur and the family supporting him. Forte Monchieri is not exception to this rule. The founder, Gianfranco Monchieri, owes his entrepreneurial vocation to the example of the father and grandfather, although in different fields than steel.
My grandfather came back from Basel in Switzerland with a little money and purchased a plot of land with trees and started producing charcoal from wood. Then fossil coal became more common and charcoal from wood was no longer used. So seeing what was happening, he felled the trees and turned the land into a meadow and started rearing cattle. My father, who was the first son, was the one who followed my grandfather, working with him more than the others. He then bought a sawmill. At the time, timber accounted for 90% of the material used.
The three stories cross over also in the book written by Gianfranco Monchieri and Luca Rizzotti, dedicated to the grandfather, whose nickname, Lisander, has become the title of the novel, focusing on a pocket watch a family keepsake mysteriously disappeared.
I was born in 1938 in May. My grandfather expressed the wish that this watch should be given to the newborn. He had bought it in Basel, Switzerland in 1892. However, my grandfather died a month before I was born, and during the funeral this pocket watch disappeared. It was a precious object, and at the time the members of the family used to talk about it. I remember this distinctly as a child. 3 years ago, a goldsmith calls me and says, "I have an object here which could be of interest to you." It's a pocket watch. I immediately understood what it was. I went to see him. He showed me some documents, the purchase papers from Basel. I conducted an investigation and thought I should, with the help of an expert, write this book.
Monchieri also tells us about the Italian economic boom at the end of the 60s.
Industry in Italy is different compared to what it is, say, in France or Germany. People here erroneously think that Italian industry was built by companies such as Fiat, Montecatini, Montedison. On the contrary, it was made by workers who started their own businesses, technicians, engineers that would try. To set up a company, you needed to be pragmatic, get your hands dirty, so to say. All first-generation companies were built by people with their hands.
Monchieri gets his diploma, follows his grandfather's footsteps in Switzerland, comes back to Italy, and at 32 becomes workshop director in a forging company of the industrial cluster in Lumezzane. Then he starts his entrepreneurial adventure.
At that time, it was very easy to start up a company because there was demand for everything. Whatever you manufactured was easily sold. And so I was a manager at the time, and I, along with my brother-in-law, who was unemployed, we rented this small warehouse. We bought a power hammer which came from Germany. Germany was a little more ahead and was beginning to scrap some equipment. What's more, in this area where we are now, there was a large plot of land, which was a state property airfield. So we came here, took over this plot, and we built our first building, and then we bought some equipment and we bought some power hammers, and we started our venture in 1970. I knew the clients. It was easy to get started. It was more difficult to get to where we are now. This has taken a lot of passion, a lot of love for what you do, and much sacrifice, which has never been a burden for me because that was my life.
Era la mia vita.